Senator Ron Johnson, how are you, sir?
Real good. And yourself, Mark?
I'm doing well. Now, I endorsed you in Wisconsin, not that you needed it, and you were elected as a citizen legislator in many ways, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely true, yep.
And you were elected with a strong support of the Tea Party, correct?
Correct.
So I was watching these debates and the filibuster on Obamacare, and I didn't see you there. What happened?
Well, I thought, there are certainly people making the points that need to be made, Mark. So, what I generally don't do is I don't spend a whole lot of time on the floor of the Senate because you're generally talking to an empty chamber. So, do you need any more information?
Yeah, and I felt you voted the wrong way from my perspective. In other words, there were about a dozen or so, or was it 17? I can't remember. Senators who voted against cutting off against cutting off the filibuster rule and taking the vote right to the Harry Reid's vote on Obamacare. What is your strategy for getting rid of Obamacare?
Well, Mark, first of all, in order to get rid of Obamacare, you actually have to pass a law and have President Obama sign it. So you're going to have to, the House passed a bill that defunded Obamacare. Then it comes over to the Senate, and then you're going to have to actually allow that bill that defunds Obamacare to proceed to final passage. Now, what you're going to have to do in order to pass a law here in the Senate, when we had 46 senators at the time, we still do, 46 Republicans, we need 5 Democrats to join us in the effort to defund. Now, the only way you can ever pass a law is you have to allow that bill to go to final passage. So I voted to allow that bill to go to final passage, which we're always going to have to do. And Harry Reid will always have the possibility then to attach, to have a vote on a germane amendment, which is what he did and stripped out the defunding portion. So that's been kind of the flaw in the strategy.
Let me.
Obamacare. So you're going to have to pass the bill through the Senate, okay, Mark?
Senator.
Sure.
I served in the Reagan administration for 8 years, and they controlled the House, Tip O'Neill, and that was one wily SOB. And they outnumbered us by a big number. But Reagan wasn't counting heads and saying, I can't get this, I can't get that. He went over the heads of the media, and he just kept pounding away and pounding away and pounding away. And you should know, hold on, Senator. Senator, I'm going to finish. You should know, Senator. You should know from your own experience as a conservative and a Tea Party candidate that some of these things take time. So when you say, we didn't have 5 Democrats, you didn't have 5 Democrats that day, but
Precisely.
maybe slowly you can start to peel them off if you make the case to the American people.
And Mark, that should be our strategy, is to make sure
Why do you keep interrupting me, by the way?
Get 5 Democrats to join us.
Why do you keep interrupting me?
We need to continue to pound the points home of how incredibly damaging Obamacare will be.
But you're not.
Supermajority support. Yes, I'm doing it all the time, Mark. I don't do it on the Senate floor because nobody listens to speeches off the Senate floor. What I do is I do it back in Wisconsin relentlessly. I get on talk radio, and I do it relentlessly, talking about how harmful Obamacare is going to be.
Senator,
Mark, I didn't come on here for an inquisition.
Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling?
Because you're not letting me talk.
I didn't finish my sentence. I'll let you talk, but why are you yelling?
I'm not yelling.
All right, well, then calm down. I said to you, Senator, it's those senators on the Senate floor that you have to convince, and you weren't there talking to those senators on the Senate floor. And I'm not the only one. I have people writing me and saying, where's Ron Johnson?
Mark, you have to convince the public to put pressure on those Democratic senators. You see, you're not seeing Democrats breaking ranks right now. You actually have to get the public support, the supermajority support, to get Democrats to start changing their votes. You're not going to do it talking to an empty chamber on the Senate floor.
Well, you're not going to do it by attacking other Republicans either.
I'm not attacking any Republicans.
But you have been attacking other Republicans.
I have never attacked another Republican in public, ever. And I don't attack them behind the scenes either. What I've been continually supportive of any effort that highlights how incredibly damaged Obamacare is going to be in our economy. Mark, the reason I ran for the U.S. Senate is because I heard President Obama say that these greedy, money-grabbing doctors will take out a set of tonsils or cut off a foot for a few extra bucks. I found that offensive, Mark, because our first child, our daughter Carrie, was born with a very serious heart defect. Her aorta and pulmonary artery reversed. So the first day of life one of those greedy, money-grubbing doctors came in at 1:30 in the morning and saved her life through procedure. 8 months later, when her heart was the size of a small plum, another group of incredibly dedicated medical professionals, in 7 hours of open-heart surgery, totally rebaffled the upper chamber of her heart. She's 30 years old. Her heart operates backwards. I ran for the United States to be the vote, to be a senator, to be the vote to repeal Obamacare. I do not know of another senator, another member of Congress that spent $9 million of his own money. And Mark, that's not pocket change for me. I just got to swallow
did you
to
okay,
be
Senator.
the vote to repeal.
Okay.
And okay, so I've been fighting hard.
But you didn't fight hard that day.
Mark, I didn't agree with a strategy. And I guess what I'd ask you...
Did you? Okay, go ahead. Ask me.
How
go
does
ahead.
this strategy actually work? How do you actually defund Obamacare? Because there's been an awful lot of intellectual dishonesty here.
All right, you asked me a question, and I'm running out of time.
Yes, please answer.
Well, I'll tell you how you do it. The House is working on, or was working on it, and they were actually using the Cruz strategy, weren't they? One appropriation. Hold on, I'm asking your question. Let me finish. The Cruz strategy was one, and the Lee strategy, and not just them, Gomert and others, and Bachmann. One appropriation bill at a time. You say you have to convince the American people. What the hell do you think's been going on the last month?
I agree with that strategy. I like the mini appropriation bills.
Did you say, or did you not say in a radio interview that Ted Cruz is intellectually dishonest when you just told me you never attack Republicans publicly?
I never called anybody out by name. I've said I think the defund strategy was intellectually dishonest because up front, let's face it, it was frequently stated that all we had to do was not pass a continuing resolution and Obamacare would be funded. No, Obamacare is automatically defunded because it's already mandatory spending. It's already permanent law, so you have to pass
I'll tell you what.
You have to pass a bill.
All right, hold on. That music means I have to take a break. You want to stay over one more segment, or do you want to come back another day?
I'm happy to stay over segment, Mark.
All right, stick with me, Senator. Senator Ron Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we're still with Senator Ron Johnson, Wisconsin. Are you there, sir?
Sure am, Mark.
Well, what is the Republican strategy for taking down Obamacare?
Well, Mark, what I've been doing behind the scenes is I've actually been trying to work relentlessly about pulling together in a bicameral basis, House members, Senate members to develop a consensus strategy behind these things. It is like pushing spaghetti up a hill. You know, I've done a lot of strategic planning in my business career. It always starts, first of all, by acknowledging, recognizing, trying to ascertain reality, and then set yourself achievable goals. And again, I know we disagree, but I didn't feel that this was the best. First of all, I didn't think we could get the Senate to actually pass the law and have President Obama sign it to actually defund. So, I mean, there are other strategies. You know, certainly what I'd like to see is I'd like to see rejection of the special treatment for members of Congress and their staff. I think that would certainly be one of the ways to make sure that members of Congress actually feel the pain.
I think that's a good idea.
Obamacare. I think that, but we're kind of losing that process. And the other thing is the number one strategy behind trying to get rid of Obamacare. I always talk about preventing it from taking firm and permanent root.
So what do you do?
Well, part of the problem we have is President Obama was very clever, I'd say very cynical, in delaying the implementation of Obamacare past his election, and now a lot of it past the 2014 election. So that I've seen polls, Mark, where less than 40% of Americans, or more than 40% of Americans, don't even realize it's the law of the land. They haven't felt the pain. They're not seeing the destruction of Obamacare to our health care system, to our personal freedoms, to our federal budget. So that's the challenge we have, and the only way you eventually get it repealed is you've got to get the supermajority support of the American public. I think we've got a majority support.
Let me, Senator. I gotta have an opportunity here.
Well, I was just telling you what I thought.
All right. But you haven't given me a strategy.
Well,
here's the thing. Hold on. Here, I didn't hear a strategy. Let me just tell you this, Senator. I had Paul Ryan on the program a little over a year ago. And what he said was we should use the same budget process that was used to pass Obamacare to defund 85% of it. And he said as budget chairman, and I have the audio if you ever want to hear it, he said as budget committee chairman in the House, that's what's required, 51 votes. Now, of course Obama's going to veto it. But this is how you educate the American people. Just as Bill Clinton fought workfare and welfare when I was there 3 times, 4 times. He fought it. And you keep going up the hill like brave men in the military, like brave politicians, and you keep making your case. Do you notice the liberals never give up? They don't say, hell, we need 5 Republicans. We can't get them.
I'm not giving up.
Senator, you haven't given me a strategy, and you guys kneecapped 12 or 15 of your colleagues who are trying to fight this thing.
How do we kneecap it? By letting a vote proceed to see whether we had the 5 Democrats, because that's what we're going to.
You knew you didn't have them.
We need 51 votes, right?
No, the way you get a Democrat. Hold on. The way you get a Democrat is not by shooting your own guys in the back.
Who shot the way you get?
Hold on. I'm just speaking figuratively. Okay. The way you get it is not by shooting. Hold on now. Shooting your own guys in the back, in the media, and everywhere else. Well, somebody's leaking. It ain't me.
It certainly isn't me, Mark.
All right, but somebody's leaking.
Me.
Okay, I'm not saying it's you, but let me finish my point.
That is a huge violation.
Okay, the way you move 1, 2, 3 Democrat red state senators is to keep plowing ahead. Let's get a vote and we lose and then we'll leave it to the House.
Here's how you do it, Mark, is you do it in a unified fashion in a non-divisive, non-destructive strategy. Let's face it, Mark. Whether we agree or disagree on the strategy, one thing we have to agree on: this strategy has caused a huge division in the conservative ranks. Where you've got
no, it hasn't.
You've got you totally opposed to Charles Krauthammer, and maybe you don't like Charles Krauthammer.
I like him a lot. It's not personal.
Pretty brilliant guy. He also, I guess, he would fall on my side in terms of unfortunately.
Did you vote for Reagan or Mondale?